Local and live. Covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Well, good morning, and this is Dan DeDona here with the localnews1.org weekly report for Hagerstown, Chambersburg, Smithsburg, Fairfield, Waynesboro, and all the communities that make up our local area. This is the 17th of April edition, and we're going to be starting off, as we do, with 5 things to do this weekend. Area YMCAs are hosting their annual Healthy Kids Day, which is a free celebration focused on keeping children active and engaged throughout the summer months. The events are going to take place on both Saturday and Sunday this weekend. On the 18th at the YMCA in Hagerstown at 1100 Eastern Boulevard from 10 a.m. until noon, and at the YMCA of Waynesboro at 810 Main Street from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. And then on the 24th of April, next Saturday, it'll be taking place at the Chambersburg YMCA at 570 East McKinley Street from 5 until 7:30 p.m. So tune into that. That should be a lot of fun. Good ideas to keep the kids busy. Didn't used to be such a problem. I remember playing baseball. That was my job during every summer, was playing baseball. Find a lot, find some kids, hang around, start playing. It was great. Of course, that was when all of us baby boomers were much younger, and you could find a game almost any place you went. Second up, the Renfrew Museum and Park in Waynesboro is going to be kicking off its 2026 season with the annual opening day celebration, offering visitors a full day of free family fun and living history. That'll take place from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Saturday, April 18th. Guests can explore historic structures, watch hearth cooking and textile demonstrations, try period games, and view antique farm machinery while learning about the soon-to-be-completed Renfrew Mill. Showcases the region's rich farming heritage. Okay, third up, Franklin County is rolling out the red, white, and blue for an epic community celebration as downtown Chambersburg hosts the America 2050 PA Parade on Saturday, April 18th from 1 until 4 p.m. The event invites youth groups, car clubs, veterans, civic organizations, marching bands, and community performers to roll, ride, march, or dance their way through the main streets of Chambersburg in celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States of America. It's organized as part of Pennsylvania's statewide America 250 PA initiative. Fourth up, at Hagerstown Aviation Museum, in partnership with the EAA Young Eagle, that's the Experimental Aircraft Association Young Eagles group, they will be hosting Aviation Adventure Day, also on April 18th. It's going to be a busy day tomorrow. That'll be running from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. at the museum's Fairchild Dome hangar at 18450 Showalter Road in Hagerstown. This will mark the first of 7 Aviation Adventure Days planned for 2026, and each one invites families to explore historic aircraft, including the newly acquired A-10 Warthog, which they have on display. That is really cool. I actually saw it fly in. The event will offer free flights for youths aged 8 to 17, and visitors can also experience an open cockpit flight in a World War II training aircraft for $200. Those are actually a lot of fun. All flights are weather permitting, admission is by donation, and the day aims to engage the community in hands-on aviation education and history, which is huge in Hagerstown because Fairchild employed over 10,000 people there at one time. It was enormous. And that's how the baseball team ended up being named the Boxcars, because so many people remember that. And that's where the flying boxcar used to be manufactured. And finally, of our 5 things to do this weekend, for a delightful time, downtown Waynesboro is welcoming you to its pickle party downtown on Saturday, April 18th from noon until 5 p.m. The event's going to fill Main Street with pickle-themed foods, local vendors, family activities and shopping, all celebrating the town's love of creativity and cucumbers. I actually live fairly close to there. I didn't know cucumbers was a thing. Nonetheless, they're going to be doing that on from noon until 5 tomorrow. And the festival invites visitors to explore local businesses, sample quirky treats, and savor some tangy fun at this community celebration. Actually sounds interesting enough to go visit. All right, shifting over to our regular news. We have 74 stories this past week. The number keeps going up. Back during the winter doldrums, we were down in the 50s most of the time, but as spring progresses and summer gets ever closer, there's just more things to cover. We're going to start off with some stories about how fire and water have featured featured strongly in the local news. In Green Township, just outside of Chambersburg in the Michaud Forest, fires covering 73 acres before they were contained broke out up in the forest land. Conditions are still ripe for fires. Multiple units responded. It took them 3 days from last Saturday all the way through Monday to finally get it contained. And they were still concerned because at one point they had it contained. They thought they had it contained, and then it broke out and started spreading again. So everybody needed to come back out and reestablish containment barriers. So that was a very big deal. Conditions are still such that there's probably going to be a lot more activity. It wouldn't take much. Okay, so everybody out there, although I haven't seen any of the municipalities issue a lot of burn bans or whatnot, just a suggestion. You probably ought to take that into account. Don't be lighting fires outside under these conditions. It can get out of hand in a big hurry. A little wind, a little fire, nasty stuff. In Mercersburg, you remember a month or so ago, there was a fire out near Mercersburg, and the fire department wanted to tap into the local hydrants. And after the fact, they were told, hey, you shouldn't do that because we don't have enough wire to put out fires. Well, that got a lot of people excited. And one of the good things about getting a lot of people excited is occasionally somebody actually does something useful. And in this particular case, the Mercersburg Water Authority got a $150,000 grant from the State Department of Commerce and Economic Development in relief aid in order to help them to restore their systems so that there would be enough water for everybody. Apparently it's not a shortage of water, it's just the systems are old and need repair, and they've had plans in place, but they were moving slowly. So turned out to be a good thing that this hoo-ha broke out back during the winter. In Waynesboro, more water problems. A water main broke at the corner of Broad and Main Streets downtown. That triggered a 3-day boiling water notice. There's actually two parts to these kinds of problems. Number one is the physical break itself is just a matter of getting in there and repairing the pipe. The more troublesome part is that when you have a break like that, the water in all of the pipes gets contaminated. It takes several days for that to flush itself out. So the borough put out a boiling water advisory for several days. It's now been canceled, and that'll help to get rid of the various pathogens and bugs that get into the water that won't do you any good if you ingest them. So you boil the water to a firm boil, a rolling boil, I think is what they call it, and then let it cool off, and then you can use it for any purpose you want: brushing your teeth, washing the dishes, drinking. Anyway, next up, Hagerstown is continuing to look at rent stabilization. This is a story that came up a few weeks ago, and they were not completely sure exactly which direction they wanted to go. There was a part of the group that and people who attended who were of the opinion that, well, we need to do something because rental properties are getting too expensive in the Hagerstown area. Well, the landlords came in recently, and they pointed out that there's another side to this, and that is that the landlords' costs and expenses are going up as well. I guess rental properties right now are renting for anywhere from $1,000 to just under $2,600, depending upon how big a unit you get and how big a family you need it. It's a tough decision. They're going to have to come up with a balance. Basically, any time anybody, especially the government, but not only the government, starts intervening in economic matters, it distorts things terribly. And there are also almost always unintended consequences. But folks in Hagerstown City Council seem to be aware of that, and they're struggling with a good answer. Hagerstown is also looking at solar power for the city, for all of its properties. There was a pitch that was made by Sunbise Solar. Basically, they're saying that there's a lot of potential sites among city buildings and city properties inside the city. They tout savings of anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 for smaller installations of solar panels, and as much as $100,000 or more per year if you have a much larger facility. And of course, they note that with energy costs rising, your savings will increase as well. The limiting factor on this is that what seems to make all of this economically feasible is federal grants, which are starting to drive up. But basically, they say that if you can get access to federal grants, you can reduce your installation costs by as much as 30 to 50%. And that's what makes it all go down easily. In Washington County, the schools got a contribution of $22,000 from Giant Martins for their feeding school program. It's an initiative that they've taken to make sure that students eat well so that they can learn, play, and thrive in their lives as they're developing and as they're learning how to become good adults. The Washington County Commissioners reviewed a draft 2027 budget coming for their operating, not for their operating budget, but for their general fund of $355,000 and some change. That is a balance. That's a good thing. That's balance for the general fund. The full operating, if you include the full operating budget and the money that's set aside for capital improvement, it actually drives the total up to about $536.3 million. It'll be about a 6% increase over previous years. And at the end of their meeting, they also got a recap on ICE's activities out at that warehouse that has been under discussion for use as a processing facility. And speaking of that upgrade, the Maryland State Department of Environment barred Washington County from allocating an increase in sewage flow, citing the need for updates in their year 2000 sewage plan. Basically, what it boiled down to, they said that the amount of extra sewage that they would expect from a warehouse facility with anywhere from 500 to 1,500 people occupying it routinely would stress the sewage pipes and they would probably leak. So they went back to this document and they said, well, you got to update this and then we might be able to talk to you. But it doesn't seem likely because other parts of the state are also getting involved. The lawsuit that was filed by the Attorney General of Maryland got another look this past week. And the federal court order that was established that was going to expire on the 13th of April has been extended. That was going to block renovation for a period of time. Now, the judge involved, Judge Herso, took the action, but he also took some steps to clarify that his work stoppage doesn't apply to what he called facial improvements. So upgrading the lights, cleaning up the exterior, maybe the parking lots, whatnot. That all of that would still be okay. The Washington County Commissioners also had protesters at their meetings recently. The Washington County Commissioners have voted in favor of the ICE facility. But they have noted on multiple occasions that they do not have any jurisdiction over what the federal government does with a property that is now owned by the federal government in any shape, way, manner, or form. That doesn't seem to be slowing up the protesters, who apparently find it quite pleasant to protest out in front of the Washington County Commissioners. I assume they probably get good camera angles from out there. There was also some concern by some of the protesters that as part of the budget recently that Washington County had purchased some riot gear for the sheriff and for the police department. Now, the way the county characterized that was the last time they got any kind of gear like this was well over a decade ago, so they needed to update it and expand it a little bit. And that's for both the sheriff and the police in the area. The protesters' view of that is, well, they're trying to sneak a package through that we disapprove of. So there's a difference of opinion about why they did what they did. In moving on to Franklin County, they just received $184.5 thousand for crisis in the form of a crisis training grant. They got that from the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency. They're one of 23 federal awards that were received in the state of Pennsylvania, and the hope is that this extra money will help boost the ability of responders to respond effectively, give them updated training. Train the trainers is a big piece of that. Make sure that there are people out there who can carry on the training, not just go to the training one time and they're the only people that get the benefit of it, but also train other people by the time they're done in the same skills and information. In Waynesboro, PennDOT is continuing work on the traffic circles on the north side of the borough, just inside of Washington Township. They're actually putting in 2 traffic circles. They were closed for the winter. They've now reopened. That's on those 2 traffic circles are on Thomastown Road and 997, and it intersects with where Washington Township Boulevard goes through. So there are 2 traffic circles going in. What they have done is PennDOT has temporarily rerouted the traffic so that they can do the work that they need to do. They'll restore it. There will be traffic will be flagged out there for a period of time. The overall project, though, is expected to be completed no time soon. Actually, August of 2028. In the Franklin County area, the Franklin County Area Agency on Aging over in Chambersburg is going to be moving from its current Norland Avenue location to a North Point Business Center address at 2593 Philadelphia Avenue in Chambersburg. So, and that move is going to take place on the 1st of June. So those of you elderly citizens up there who depend upon that facility, just be aware you're going to have. It'll be a good move because they're going to have better facilities, better parking. They'll be much more visible. They'll be easier to get to, and the folks that run the facility basically say it'll be a lot easier to provide the kind of services that folks need. So that's a good deal. Next up, the Coalition to Protect Franklin County has issued a call to action to stop a high voltage electrical lines, power lines, which are being pursued by TransSource from coming through Franklin County. This is an older issue. This first came up several years ago. The interesting thing about this is that the original plan, I'm not sure exactly what the current plan is, but the original plan basically followed the existing right-of-way of the existing power lines that already come through Franklin County. There was some suggestion that these new ones might be a little bigger and taller. And they actually, back last time I looked at it, they were actually rerouting just a little bit in order to avoid homes that had kind of encroached on the area. So they're going to move them out a little further away so that they won't be in such close proximity to people. Nonetheless, the Attorney General The Pennsylvania Attorney General is joining the effort of these folks, so I suspect you probably expect more on that in the future. And Washington County has recently hosted the Waynesboro Area School District recently hosted the First Choice Career Conference on the 16th of April at the Waynesboro High School. Over 100 industry and community and educational leaders offered inspirations and skill advice to students who attended. That's part of the. This is a part of the broader effort. I should say this is not a one-time thing for the Waynesboro Area School District. They shifted several years ago to the idea that even as early as freshman year, and possibly even in earlier years of school, you want to start making sure that kids have got an idea of what kinds of occupations are out there, so that they have something to choose from. One of the problems that they were concerned with was an awful lot of kids come out of middle school or high school and they really don't know the full breadth and scope of all the different kinds of things that you can do. And because of that, there was a concern that, if they wanted to do something and they weren't aware of how to go pursue it, we ought to be able to help them. If they weren't aware, then we should help to make them aware. So that's been their philosophy for a couple of years ago. And this First Choice Career Conference is a one-time event that brings a lot of outside people into the school district to help with that process. Up until this time, they've been spending a lot of time talking about it in the schools and going out to different places. So this is a pretty big deal for education in Washington or in Waynesboro. In police news, we only had one issue today, and that was a gentleman was charged by the name of Kendall H. Wells for stalking, theft, criminal mischief, and disorderly conduct for an incident that took place on the 9th of April. The police did not offer a whole lot more information on that, but I'm sure there will be more to follow when he finally comes up for charges. Under people news, we got quite a bit here. Vincent Towns. This is a very interesting story. Vincent Towns, 53-year-old guy who has been working on a knuckleball for apparently most of his life. He was actually in the miners many years ago and finally got cut, and he's been a construction worker for most of his life since, but he has still continued working on a knuckleball. Well, he ended up getting picked up by the Hagerstown boxcars because he's got such an interesting, it really is something. If you don't play baseball, you wouldn't understand this, but if you do play baseball, and I suspect that's most people, after a lot of hitters have been facing a 95-mile-an-hour fastball and an 89-mile-an-hour curve and sliders and all that other stuff, when a guy comes in with a knuckleball that floats all over the place at random spots along the way to the plate at 72 or 73 miles per hour, that's a complete reset for a batter. So this fellow might actually have a chance. We're pulling for him. 53. That's just absolutely magnificent. In Waynesboro, teacher Emily Lego got a $200 grant for innovative classroom approach to teaching environmental studies. So congratulations to you, Emily. Smithsburg got 12 All-Star Awards and designated Team of the Year for their 26-1 ladies basketball team for their performance this past year. Absolutely outstanding effort. That award came from the Washington County Athletic Association. In Washington County, I should say both Washington County and Franklin County recognized members of their 911 staffs for outstanding performance over the past year, especially during the winter. It's easy to forget, but there were some nasty cold streaks in there and some pretty tough storms as well. Washington County teacher Robin Papa was named Teacher of the Year by the Washington County Chamber of Commerce. Meritus is welcoming gastroenterologist Christine Lewis to their digestive services department. Just a few more of these, and I think we'll wrap it up. Meritus nursing residency program has been reaccredited by the American Nurses Credentialing Center. In Washington County, Pathfinders for Autism, this is a group that's been centered over closer to Baltimore for many years, has named Denise Near, N-E-A-R, as its first community connection for Western Maryland. She'll be located in Washington County. And in health news, Dr. Mary Romantic of the Emeritus Rheumatology Office offers some advice on osteoporosis. This is a nasty thing. It tends to affect more women than men, but it can affect a lot of men as well. The bones just get brittle. They get a little more porous. Under those conditions, they have more of a tendency to break. So she offers some suggestion in her article about diet and exercise. A lot of people try to treat that with just diet, drinking a lot of milk and taking things that have calcium in them. But she also says you ought to exercise as well, because exercise always helps to strengthen bones. All right. That's it for all the stories this week. We've also got local history every Tuesday, the writings of Dargan Boy on Thursdays, all kinds of sports. It's baseball season, soccer's breaking out all over, auto racing. We've got crossword puzzles, theatrical activities, and more. We are very, very proud to be the news source for Verstandig Media. And you can see all the local news at localnews1.org. That's all local. We don't do national news. We try to stay out of politics, although we do take on the issues to the extent that we can. And with that, we're going to leave you with the thought of the week. It's an observation by a medical researcher who said that sleep comes so naturally to so many people that they can do it with their eyes closed. Bada bing. Have a great week.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.